gonna do this. All right, everybody. This is workout number 1 of the first week. So this is a full body. We're going to do between 1 to 3 sets of each exercise. I'll let you know which one is which and then how many reps to do of each. So we're just gonna go through 7 different exercises. So this shouldn't take more than, I want to say 45 minutes to do. And then what I'm also going to do is integrate a warm-up sequence that will be really helpful for preparing for the moves that we'll do. So with that said, let's get to it. All right, since this is full body, what we're gonna do, stretch from top to bottom. So we're gonna stretch our triceps. And we'll switch. And then above our head, also stretching the triceps. Switch. Very good. I'll stretch out our wrists. Remember to breathe through all of this. I find the stretching aspect to be um, a good way for me to like get out of my mind and get back into my body. So just relaxing into the stretches, remembering to breathe, remembering to get back into the sensations that we feel in our body. So yeah, I'll pay attention to how it feels. It feels so good to stretch, to get back into feeling the different muscles in our body. Like if you've been, typing all day, then this should be like really good for stretching that out. And what we'll do, we'll stretch out our neck. I guess you don't really have to use your hand. I kind of just use it as like a gentle guide. So even though it just helps me feel a little bit more supported because it is kind of a vulnerable place to have your neck. But I will stretch. And then I'll put both of my hands behind my head, like so. And then what I like to do, stretch out this part right here on the lats. There's another way to do this that is more like, uh, I'm forgetting what it's called. Um, Not downward dog. Why am I forgetting? But you're basically like on the ground. You're going like this from one side. It's not happy baby. That's not the one either. I cannot believe I'm forgetting what it is. Um, but it's a yoga move, and it's also really good for stretching out your lats. But this one works pretty well. And if you find that you're yawning, it's not because you're like tired. It's more likely that you're releasing something in your nervous system, and so your nervous system's actually relaxing. Um, I notice a lot of the times when I'm stretching, I'll just yawn a bunch, and I was told that it's because my nervous system actually feels like it's releasing tension. So, um, just so if you didn't know, then you know. Let's see. Okay, what we'll go into next is lower body stretches. So we're just gonna try to reach forward and touch our toes. Maybe you feel this in your calf, maybe you feel it in your hamstring, maybe you feel it in your back, whichever place that you feel it. Don't force anything, just kind of sink into it. What I'll tend to do is start with my feet pretty close. And once that feels pretty comfortable, I'll take a step out, kind of push into this hip a little bit more. So I'm stretching more of your lower back. And then I'll kind of go to this side. And I should probably double check. Can you guys hear me with my headphones? Let's see. Go on to the other side. Ugh. Let's see, certain stretches will just release yawns. If you want to twist, you can, or stay here, you can. You can also go a little bit wider and start stretching more of your inner thigh. So I feel like that range of motion, um, if you start close, when you start bringing your feet outer and outer, then you kind of hit everything, right? Like you stretch your back, your glutes, your hamstrings, maybe even your calves. And now we're stretching more of our inner thighs because we don't really do that very often on our own in life. So we're going to do that today. And that feels really good. If that didn't already stretch your calf, we'll do that now. So we'll intentionally bring one leg forward while we're lifting our toes. I don't know if you can see my toes, but my toes are lifted. And a little bit more forward. So right here and straight, reaching forward so that we're more intentionally stretching out our calves here. And if you lift your toes up, I feel that now like in the arch of my feet. So we're really able to do a really good stretch there. And then we can switch. And as someone who walks a lot, does a lot of running, all that kind of stuff, it is imperative to stretch out the calves, stretch out your feet, because I started to develop plantar fasciitis in my arch. And so if you're not already on top of that, very good to stretch that out. So then what we're going to get into next is more hip flexor stretches. So just going to bring that there. We're going to come down onto one knee, bring this foot forward, and we're going to lean forward until this leg, you feel the stretch right there in that hip flexor. So maybe perhaps from another angle, you can see what I'm doing. Bring one leg forward. And then we're going to straighten this out. If you need to be up high and you can only go so far because you really feel that stretch there, start right there. Work your way so that you're coming forward, coming forward. Feel a nice good stretch in the hip flexor. Enjoy that because that's an area that a lot of people don't do enough stretching of their hip flexors uh, and I definitely see a lot of discomfort in that area for a lot of people, a lot of tightness, soreness even. So Now we're stretching hamstrings. A little bit of the top of my foot here is where I feel it. Come on back forward. Really like push your hip bone forward, you know? You want to kind of be aware of it's not just your chest coming forward. You won't feel it as much, but if your hip flexors, if your hip bone is coming forward, then you feel a really good stretch. But of course, don't overdo it. Come on back. And we'll switch. So same thing on this side. We're trying to bring that hip bone forward so that we feel the max stretch. Do a lot of sitting. That'll cause a lot of hip tightness there. So I know a lot of Bay Area people do a good amount of commuting. And we're honestly just not as active. We don't walk as much as we ought to, you know, for ultimate health. So this is what we got. We got to do some stretches, do some walking, get some movement. Cool. I think we'll save that. Call that good for warm up exercises. Let's get into our balance exercise. So, what we're going to do is what I call the flamingos. We're going to stand on one leg. Gonna look like this. Inside looks like this. We're just going to stand on one leg. And then I think for the first week or so, you don't need to bother using dumbbells or any weights of any kind. We're really just trying to focus on keeping your core strong as you're trying to balance and add in a little bit of dynamic movement. So if you're able to master uh, what I call the flamingo and you're able to balance on one leg and do 10 reps on each leg, then you know that your balance is pretty good. And I notice that one side may or may not be better than the other. You'll notice that maybe you're like, oh, wow, this is a piece of cake and I could do this all day. Whereas the other one, it does not feel that way. So, totally normal. I see that every day. and so, yeah, really pay attention to your core. Make sure your hips aren't dropping. Make sure you're nice and level. You're paying attention to your breathing. And we'll do this 2 times on each side. So, from the side, up on one leg, 2, 3, 4. The wind's really gonna try to test me, see if I can balance. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, last time on this side. 1, 2. So this is a part of the functional training that I do. It's so important to uh, be super in tuned. Like you don't have to be very good at balance, but to be in tuned with how well you can balance and like are your little twitch muscles in your feet able to keep you up. Because once then you add in dynamic movement in the other more advanced sort of balancing exercises, you'll realize that being able to catch yourself before you fall is not only good for right now in this time of life, but it's good for when we're much older and we don't want to risk falling. So there is the balance portion. Let's get into the very first exercises. First one being the air squat. So basically, what this is a squat. We're not going to use any weight. We're not going to use anything. We're trying to ease our way into this. And if you feel comfortable with just basic air squats, you can do that. There is the modification of using chairs first. And honestly, I would highly recommend using a chair first to make sure that you're doing this properly. So, what I'm going to do is we're just trying to ease our way and also drink your water, as we're just trying to ease our way back into exercise. Grab any kind of chair, just as long as it's a good height for you. So you're able to come to the chair, sit pretty comfortable, and we're going to work from here. So if we're going to do 25 sets altogether with one set with 25 reps. But if you need to break it up, because 25 squats all in one sitting can be a lot, right? You can break it up into like do 3 and take a break, do 5 and do 10, whatever, and take a break. It is not about trying to get it done. It's actually, let's really focus on quality over quantity. So we really want these to be super, super good. So from the side, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna put my hands here. I'm gonna lean a little bit forward. I'm gonna put all and push into my heels. I think what happens a lot for a lot of people is that we push into this part, this part of our foot, but we really want to push into this part. So thinking about pushing into the heels and push off, up, squeeze your glutes. Now reverse that. Bring your hips back, start bending your knees, and sit. But try not to plop in the chair because you want to use your quad strength to get you up and down. That is the main focus of this exercise, is to use the least amount of momentum. You don't want to be like, you know, all right, momentum, get yourself up. The whole point is to really focus on how much quad engagement do I need to do in order to get myself up. So we're really trying to think of slow, 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 up and squeeze. So this is what I mean by quality over quantity. If this takes a while to do all 25 because you're really focusing on slow speed movement, then we'll take it. That's the best way to do it. So taking it nice and slow. There's 3. I hope the wind is not too obnoxious. It's a little windy today. I got 4 and squeeze the glutes. There we got 5. Squeeze those glutes. There we go. We got 6 right there. Come on back down. Another really good cue that you should look out for is, see, when we're doing the squat here, be very careful of your knees coming in. It is just simply a sign that our quads need to get stronger if our knees are coming in as we're trying to squat. So what I mean is if we're doing this and then our knees start doing this, it's okay, but we definitely need to work on the quads so that when we're squatting, they go like that. They stay nice and strong. If they are going in like this as you're coming up because they're just not super strong right now, we will just keep doing the reps until they start to catch on and they start to get strong. A lot of the times it's just because we have not done the progressive overload needed for quad strength. So if we're in that position, Just means we'll need to put some reps in there, put some practice in there to make sure that we are keeping those knees aligned and in place. I've honestly lost count of where we are. I want to say at least 15, 16, 17. If you need to take a break, please do so. 18, I'm going to come back to profile, just in case you need to see what I look like from this side. 19, 20, 21, 22, we're almost there. 23, 24, last one, 25. Awesome. So that is that. Okay, so the next exercise are lunges. This one will be pretty tough on the knees if we feel like we've got some sensitive knees. So if it is too much for the knees, we'll skip out on it completely. But if you're okay with it and you will try it out, this is what we'll do. So I would have something to balance on right here. We're just going to do static. We won't travel anywhere. Just going to be here. You have something to hold on to so you're nice and balanced. We're going to think about the hip flexor being forward again. What you don't want to do is come forward so that your knees are over your toes. What you want to do is bring your back leg far enough back to come straight down so that you're at a 90 with this leg and a 90 with this leg. So you're coming straight down. You'll feel a lot of tension here, a lot of tension right here in the quads, and that's where you want it. And then come back up here and here. Once you get the hang of it, I believe it was 2 sets, 25 each. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and 13. If you need a break, you can take a break. They're pretty intense, especially when you're doing them right, taking your time, being slow and intentional. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Take a little breather, take a little water. Cool. Now, just for time's sake, do that on the other leg, take a break, and then do it again on each leg. Then you're done. If you feel like you get to the other leg and you're just totally spent, you want to progress to set 2 maybe next week, that's okay too. Feel it out. Um, See how you feel in a day, see how your quads feel, how your knees feel. Go from there. What we'll do next, I believe, is the bicycle. So this one, traditionally, a lot of people will go really, really fast on bicycle. And I feel like personally that defeats the whole purpose. It's not to go super fast and do this as fast as possible. Bicycles are for your core. You're supposed to be strengthening your core with them. So, um, what we'll do, bicycle, 2 sets of 30. Okay. So, just for anybody who needs some form tips, let me put this here. You'll be laying on your back. We're gonna take this nice and slow. So my belly button's already pushing into the ground. And what I'm gonna do is reach my right arm to my left leg, squeeze the core, and come back to center. You're squeezing your core the whole time. Because too often people will just kind of do this, and more often than not, it doesn't seem quite as effective, in my opinion. I think that when you're slow and controlled, your back is pushed into the ground, you keep your form really, really good, and you can be nice and slow and gentle. And that is basically the move. I think for time purpose, I don't want this to take a whole hour. So what you'll do is pause me here, finish out the rest of like the 2 sets there. What we'll do next is the glute bridge. So we're staying on our back, but now we're gonna take the focus to lower body. So what you're gonna wanna do, you're on your back again, pushing your core, your belly button into your spine and into the ground. You're pushing into your heels and you're gonna engage your hamstrings and your glutes to lift. And that's one. Forget how many was it? 3 sets of 15. Okay. I'll just show you guys how to do it. But to keep in mind, you want to keep your core engaged. So you're strong here, you're strong, engaged, pushing into your heels. And just pause for like 2 seconds. Good. 2 squeeze at the top. 1, 2. You'll do that 15 times and then take a break. Rest. Then you'll do that another 15 for set number 2. Rest. Same thing. We'll do that a third time. And you might have some sore glutes tomorrow. Whew. The next one are planks. And this one has a modification. So if it's a little too much for being on your feet, where it looks a lot like on your elbows and then you're up on your feet, I can understand that that would be a lot for a first time. I would highly recommend be on your knees, but still straighten out your body. So I'm squeezing my glutes, actually, squeezing my quads. My core is definitely there. My arms, holding myself up here. And you can count to 60, you can count to 30. Try to see how long you can go. And when you're done, don't flop on the ground like this. When you're here and you're done, come up and do that because then you can rest right there. Better for your back. You're here, hold your core. Make sure your glutes are squeezing so that all of your muscle is engaged and working and under tension. If you're able to hold that for a minute, then sweet. If you're only able to hold it for 10 seconds, work your way up to 20 next time. You'd be surprised how quickly you can get strong. So next one that we'll do, tricep kickback. Okay, so this one, see if we can get a good angle right here. We're on our hands and knees. If you have a water bottle, if you have a dumbbell, if you don't have anything, that's okay too. What you're gonna do is bring your arm here. It's gonna stay locked in that place. You're gonna kick back. You see that tricep right there, how it engaged? And bring it back. You're gonna stay right in that spot. You're really just going to bring your hand back and squeeze that tricep and bring it back. Squeeze that tricep, bring it back. That is essentially the tricep kickback. And once you hit the reps for this side, you bring it down. Do the same thing on this side. You bring the arm to your side. Boy, this is easy to see. To your side, kick back. Squeeze the tricep. Squeeze your tricep. Squeeze. And hopefully that is, we're gonna do 3 sets of 12 of those. You'll come back to this side after a rest. Squeeze the tricep. So you'll do this 3 times on each side. So you'll feel those pretty good tomorrow as well. The very last one that we're going to do, you could do this seated or standing. I will actually do this standing. Oh, it just makes a little bit more sense. All right, so we're here. If you have water bottles, if you have dumbbells, if you don't have anything, that's okay. We'll just be here. We got our dumbbells, got water bottles. We got our own resistance. We're going to lift so we feel it all right in there. Gotta squeeze. Right there. And don't be afraid to lift pretty heavy with these if you've got like milk jugs, if you've got could be anything, but you really want to feel a nice little burn right there. I mean, for example, like these right here, these are 25s. I don't think I could do a whole 3 sets of these, but you'd be ooh. You'd be shocked to see like how strong your biceps can be when you actually train them. I think it is a little bit easier to go with one. But now you see the biceps are a little bit more engaged. Now I'm progressive training because I'm pushing them a little bit harder. That's where you get the toned look from. Your curl, bring it down. What it looks like from the front. Usually people will have 2 different dumbbells in each, we'll have dumbbells in each hand, but this works too. You got something similar to this, use that. And for time intensive purposes, those are the moves. I hope that all makes sense and that was a really great visual, very helpful. Let me know if you have any questions and I'll see you next time.